Good evening, everyone, and welcome to True Encounters. I'm your host, Marvin Allen. Now, this is the second encounter that I'm bringing y'all. I hope y'all like the first one. Now, this encounter right here, the only thing I can say is it happened in the South. So, without further ado, let's get into this second encounter. Now, like I said, this second encounter happened in the South. Now, this young lady went to go stay with her grandmother. So, when she arrived there, she went in, took her stuff, unpacked, put her stuff away, and she wanted to go outside. So her grandmother said, it's a lot of work around here need to be done, so I need you to help me today. You can go out tomorrow. She said, but when you out there, do not go out of the yard. Because where they was at, they were surrounded by woods anyway. So she wanted her to basically stay in the yard area. She didn't want her to go far. So she stayed in that day, She said after she ate dinner, she went in her room, got on the computer, and wound up falling asleep. The next day, she got up, ate breakfast. So she asked her grandmother, is there anything you need me to do? Can I go outside? So grandmother said, no, I don't need you right now. Go out. You can go outside. But like I said, don't go far. So she goes outside. Now, her grandmother had this, a golden retriever. So when she went outside, she played fetch with it. She would throw the ball. He would go get it, throw the ball. He would go get it, throw the ball. He would go get it. And this one time, she accidentally threw the ball too far. So the ball goes up in the woods. So the dog went to go fetch the ball. But when it get about 5 to 10 feet from the tree line, it just stopped. Instead, ears went down and tail went between its legs, she said. She said then the dog started whimpering. So the dog ran back to her. So she looked down at the dog. So she goes up in the woods to go look for her ball. So when she gets up in the tree line, she walks up in the woods. She looking around. She don't see her ball. She say, but when she looked to her right, she see this dark. This is what she said to me. She said she seen this dark thing look like an arm reach out and grab the ball. So she yell out, give me my ball. But nobody or nothing says anything. She said then she seen this gigantic head that looked it like a wolf peek from behind the tree. So she said she was froze then. She said then this thing stepped out from behind this tree. She said this thing looked like a giant dog on 2 legs. She said this thing had long arms with hands with black claws. She said, but the legs looked like the legs of a dog. And she said this thing was huge. It was tall. She said then this thing did something that really freaked her out. She said this thing opened its hand and had the ball in its hand. She said then this creature looked at her with said this thing had like a grin on its face. She said then this creature said, come get your ball. I won't hurt you. Now she looking at this thing. She said, but she don't see this thing mouth moving or nothing. But she could clearly hear this thing say that. So as she's staring at this thing, She said this thing started to take a step. She said when this thing took one step, that's when she urinated. She said she urinated on herself. Then she heard her grandmother call for her. So she turns back and look. Grandmother calling for her, but she don't say nothing. She turns back around. This creature is gone. Grandmother comes up in the woods and she asks her, didn't I tell you don't come up in these woods? What you doing up here? She said, I was looking for my ball, Grandma. She said, well, did you find it? She said, no. So she said, when she turns around to go walk to her grandmother say, did you wet yourself? She said, yeah, Grandma, I couldn't make it to the bathroom. Now, mind you, she never tell her grandmother what she saw. She goes in the house, cleans herself up, So, later on that night, she eat dinner, goes in her room. She gets on her computer. She said, so while she was on her computer, she hears this. She heard tapping sound on the window, but she don't pay it no attention. Then she hear that screeching sound. She said it sound like when the teacher take her nails and scratch on the chalkboard. She hear that sound. She said it just made her feel funny. So she gets up. She walks over to the window. She pulls the curtain back. Now she sees this thing and them yellow eyes peeking at her through the window. She said this thing was it was just big. Because this thing was looking down at her. So she said when she look at this thing, and mind you, she looking up. She look at this thing. She said this thing talks to her again. And it tells her, come get your ball. She says she shuts the curtain, leaves out her room. She walks down, headed towards the front door. She said when she got to the front door, grandmother was coming out the bathroom. And she sees her and she asks her, what are you doing? She said, oh, nothing. She said, I was going to check on the dog. She said, the dog is in here. She said, oh. She said, yeah. She said, go to bed. It's late anyway. You should be asleep. So she goes in her room, lay back down. She said after about 15 minutes, she hear the tapping again. She said she don't pay no attention. So she finally falls asleep. Next day, she says she gets up. Grandmother makes breakfast. She goes outside. She said when she goes outside, she see that ball on the front porch, just sitting there. She said and when she went to go pick this ball up, she noticed that this ball, it had like marks in it, like claw marks in it. And she said it was just filthy. Looked like it had blood on it. Looked like it had feces on it. And she said this ball stunk real bad. So she went in the house, threw it away. So grandmother in the kitchen, getting stuff, cleaning up dishes and stuff like that. So she goes to throw something in the trash. She sees the ball. She calls her in there and said, is this your ball? Why did you throw your ball away? She said, oh, Grandma, because it had, dookie on it and it stunk real bad. So I just threw it away. So her grandma was like, So she said she goes back out and she sits on the front porch. Now, she said while she's sitting, the dog on the other side, laying down there. She said after a few minutes, she said the dog ears went straight up. Bing! So it got up on all fours. Now it's looking dead up in the tree line. So while the dog stern, she's looking too. She said, "What you see, boy? What you see, boy?" So she said when she looked, she see this creature peek from behind the tree. She said it would peek and it would go back. It would peek and it would go back. So she stands up. She said, then this creature peeks again. She said when it peeks this time, she said it steps out. She said when this creature stepped out, she noticed there's something about this creature. She noticed it that this creature didn't look the same as the first creature. She said this creature was like a reddish color. And the first creature she seen was black. She said this was like a reddish color. So she's looking at it. So she said this creature started to growl at her, like a low growl. So after a few, that dog started whimpering again. So the dog goes in the house. She stays on the porch. She said this creature's still growling. She said after a few more seconds, she went in the house. She went in the house, and her grandmother said, "What, you ain't want to stay outside?" She said, "No, I just wanted to come in the house." So she said she goes in the house. She stays in there. She said next few days, it rained. So she said she really didn't go out. So after the rain cleared up, I think she said about like on the fourth day, said she gets up and she goes outside. You know, it was still a little moist out there in the grass, but she said it wasn't really that wet out there. She said so when she goes outside, she's standing, you know, in the backyard. So she said when she was in the backyard, she hear these knocks. Bop, bop, bop. Like something, it's like something banging on something. So she said she walks up a little bit to the tree line. And she said about 30, 35, 40 yards, she say she see that same creature, that second one, standing by this tree. So she say she turns, runs dead back straight in the house. So when she run in the house, her grandmother say, "What's wrong with you?" She said, "Grandma, I have to tell you something." So sat down and she told her. She said, "I seen this dog thing." She said, "But this dog thing was standing up. It wasn't on all fours. It was walking around like we do." And she said, "Grandma, what you do you believe me? You don't believe me?" And her grandmother said, "Yeah, baby, I believe you." You know. So her grandmother said when she was a little girl, she used to see these big black dogs on the property running back and forth through the tree lines. She said, "I never told you about them because I didn't see them in so many years that I didn't think that they were still around here." She said, "But I still should have told you about them." So after her grandmother told her that, she said, "If you don't want to, you don't have to stay here for the whole summer, you know." But she did stay there for the whole summer. She said that she still used to see the eye shine at night. She still used to see this creature up in the woods in the tree line, peeking from behind the trees and stuff, you know. But she said she really didn't have a problem out this thing. She said because she felt though that this thing wasn't out to hurt her. She said because if it wanted to, it could have, but it never did. So that was her encounter, and I hope you like it. Just give me some feedback, and thank you.